Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video, we are going to dig a little bit more into the parameters and understand a little bit how it works, especially that we have two types of parameters. We have reference types and we have primitive types. So far we have been working with primitives, and this is the one we are going to start. So I will do some changes. Actually, let's create a new class here under test, calculator test 04, and create the public static void main. And now let's create a new method in the calculator class. So this method will be public void, and I will just call it change to numbers. So this will be a little bit tricky, just for the sake of trying to explain how it works. Let's call it number1 and another integer num2. So now I'm going to do the following. I have these parameters, and you know that we are going to receive some numbers, but I'm going to change. I'm going to get number1, and I will assign the value 99. And number2, remember, these are just local variables that will be alive while this method is alive. And then we have 33 for number2. And then I will salt something here, for example, inside change to numbers, and then I will salt number1, and I will print here number1, Control D, and then number2. Now I'm going to calculator test 04. And inside the calculator test 04, you know, we are going to create a calculator. We need a calculator object to work with. And now look at this. I'm going to create a variable called number1, but I will assign 1. And then I will create number2, and I will assign the value 2. And now I will go to calculator, and then I will call out change to numbers, and I'm going to send number1, and then I'm going to send number2. And then I will do the same. I will copy this line, these three lines, and then inside calculator test 04. Now, before you try this, before you execute, just try to draw or understand what's going to happen. Now, I will execute this one, Control Shift F10. And let me change some stuff here for better visualization. So give a space here. This is the name of the variable, Control Shift F10. Okay, so as you can see, we have calculator, and we have two local variables, local in the scope of this main method, and then calculator change to numbers, and we are assigning num1, num2, these two guys, 1 and 2 in the end. And then when we go inside change to numbers, we have 99 and we have 33 being assigned to this num1, num2. And then when we print, we have 99 and 33. And remember, after this method finishes, it will go back to the calculator test again. And then it's going to execute these lines. But you can see that the result is the same as we have here, 1 and 2 inside this calculator. And this is because the way the Java works when we are working sending parameters and they are primitive. The rule is every time you send a primitive type as an argument, you are actually sending a copy of its value. You never send a reference to that variable. So if we had to draw, basically, we have num1 here. So let's copy first calculator test. So we have calculator test right here. And then we have two variables, number1 and then number2. Number1 and number2. So as you know, these variables, they do have their own spacing memory with 1 and 2. So I'm going to get the spacing memory here. So we have the spacing memory 1, way too big. And we have a spacing memory 2. When we call that change to numbers here, we have now this method change to numbers. So basically this change to numbers is not getting a reference. When you send num1 and num2, you're not getting a reference to this guy. So for example, you don't have something like this. You don't have a reference to the space in memory that this number 2 has. It's not like that. You have a copy. So basically what you have is like this. You are sending the copy, the bits that represents 1 and 2 here. And with this bit, we have now inside calculator, inside change to numbers. So basically calculator, going down here. So we have another reference variable that's num1 and num2. So I'm going to copy these guys. These two. So remember, when we have parameters, they're basically local variables that are alive within this scope. So we are saying, okay, we are getting these two values inside 1 and 2, but at the moment we get to line 41 and 42, these values that we had 1 and 2 are now 99 and then 33. And can you see that we still have 1 and 2, 99 and 33, but they are not affecting each other. That's why when we print the calculator num1 and num2, we have 1 and 2, and when we print the calculator test, and when we have the calculator, we print num1 and num2, we do have 99 and 33, because they are not affecting. We have a copy. So basically a new variable is created, a new space memory, and then we get a copy of the original value, and we are not going to do any changes to that value, the original value. So William, why did you name num1 and num2? Just to make it a little bit explicit, and if you are studying for any certification, they will probably do the same. So basically, if we change this just press select and press shift F6, so it will change all the variables that you have inside the method. And br from number 1. And then here the same, select and then shift F6 and br from number like 2. Now the names are completely different. So the names here are NBR1 and then NBR2, and it's the same here. And this is representing this one right here. So now it's like pretty clear that you do have 4 different variables and they do not affect each other when we are executing. Well, I think that's it for primitive types. They are pretty simple. Whatever you get in front of you in any tests or when you are writing your code, just remember, when you are passing primitive types, you are actually passing a copy of whatever is inside. So you're never sending the reference that you have on number 1. You are always sending the copy of the bit of the value that you have inside this memory. Okay, I think that's enough. Let's continue in the next video. See you there. Bye.